All right. One game. Not much to break down. Big piece of news since this morning's video. James Harden, right? Plans to play. That is all updated on Patreon. Just took some more props based off of that. A lot of unders, if you would imagine, on the Nets. A lot of players in the Nets are now overpriced, as you would imagine, but it's a showdown slate, so most of them remain in a player pool. And from a betting market, you can't get any better than getting the Nets at +4.5 or +5 last night or earlier today, and hearing that James Harden is going to play. And here's going to be the big question. How much does James Harden play? How healthy is James Harden? I'm not expecting 100% James Harden. I'm giving him 36 minutes today. If I was expecting 100%, I'd give him 40 to 42. But I'm expecting him to be basically all the way there. Here's the thing. This is game 5. This is an important game. You're probably dead in the water if you lose this game, but for this specific game, right? It's a 4.5 point spread, so it's nothing crazy, but you're an underdog, a decent underdog for the NBA playoffs. That said, though, I don't think James Harden is going out there as a decoy. I don't think James Harden is going out there with a high re-injury risk. This is not like Kevin Durant going out there with his Achilles about to erupt for Golden State, right? This is a different injury than that. But this is something that's going to take more than the week that he's been out, right? So I don't think he's going to be 100% out there. I think we'll be able to tell he's not a full 100%, but I do think he'll get the minutes, and I do think he's at a standpoint where if he was nowhere near being able to play, he wouldn't be playing in Game 5. If this was Game 7, you can convince me that he's just putting it all on the line out there. If this was the NBA Finals, you can convince me that he's putting it all on the line out there like Durant did in that NBA Finals. But in not even the Eastern Conference Finals, in Game 5, where if you lose, you don't go home, right? I mean, it's important to win this game, obviously, and you got to win one of two just to go ahead in advance. But I think he's going to be a little bit banged up there, but he benefits from being somebody that can still be productive without his getting to the basket or driving to the basket and initiating contact. So what's going on, Alex? He says, missed out on the +4.5, so now I'm thinking of going Bucks in the under. Is that silly? I have no interest in the Bucks or the under. If you just want a piece of the game for the fun of the betting purposes on this game, I still like Brooklyn as an underdog. I personally would not be betting on this game if you already missed out on it. The line movement has been so much. The line movement has been all over the place. So if you missed out on +4.5, if you got Milwaukee when you thought you had a good line on it at -3 or -4.5, which was the worst line for Milwaukee at -4.5 in my opinion, you should have jumped on the +4.5 for the Nets there. But let's get into this. We're going to be taking questions from a prop standpoint, added a couple more props. Not going to be the full 45-minute to an hour show. It's just one game. We'll answer as many questions as we can over the next half hour or so. Fair. It's a scary line. Yeah, I still take the Bucks out of it, obviously. Look, this isn't the NFL, so like the +2.5 and the +3 doesn't really matter all that much. It's not like they're actually going to land on the field goal like they do in the NFL a lot. So that hook doesn't matter as much to me. So let's see what we got. We got people up in here. Matthew, what's going on? Desi says I'm back in this bitch. Desi, reporting live from maybe being set free. What's up? Best captain pick for tonight, says Mark Beeman. Best captain pick for tonight for me, it's probably Giannis Antetokounmpo. KD, Giannis, Drew Holiday would be the one that's probably a little bit lower on that still has the upside. We haven't seen it really in this series, but still has the upside to have a 50-point game. But for me, it's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo will be my best captain pick personally in terms of where I'm at right now. That's where I would go with it. He's cheaper than KD. He's projecting out for 5 more points than KD. Harden coming in for KD is going to shift that, and the ownership is going to be, captain ownership is going to come in on Giannis and all these guys. But in NBA showdowns, look, I'm playing literally like 1 to 2% of my action in showdown streets tonight. We've been pretty transparent that I don't play NBA showdowns. I like NFL showdowns. There's some actual correlation. You can play out some game theories, and just from an entertainment standpoint, I think it's a better showdown product than the NBA, right? Where it's pretty clear cut. There's going to be like 1 to 5 guys that have 1 to 3 guys that have a significant chance to be the captain that night, and another 1 to 3 that have a decent chance. And yet again, that's tonight. The guys who have a significant chance to be the captain tonight, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The guys who have a decent chance, James Harden, Middleton, Drew Holiday, and you can try and convince me that Joe Harris and Brook Lopez are live there. Probably would tell you I wouldn't want to go there. So I would say that right now Giannis is going to be my favorite captain. I would expect Giannis to be the highest owned captain. I would expect Giannis to push towards 100% ownership on this showdown slate. Yes, that is correct. I said 100%. If Giannis gets injured tonight and you don't play Giannis, you are going to be in a handful of lineups that did not play Giannis. Giannis and Kevin Durant are going to be massively owned. Durant probably would have been 90+% owned if it wasn't for Harden returning. I expect Giannis to be at least 90% owned. I would say closer to 100% than 90%. So you want to call that 97, 98%? I would take that over the 92 or 93%. So glad I placed my Nets props minutes before Harden went from out to playing. I mean, if you really wanted to, if you really wanted to get out of those Nets props, you can just take the other side of those Nets props if you're playing on Prize Picks where there's no juice, assuming that the props didn't change and you can't get middled and lose both bets. But you can just take the other side of those if you really want to just cancel it out. But I took some props before, and now I'm taking props after. So like I just placed a prop. We can pull it up. And it features a lot of unders from the Nets. Majority unders from the Nets, actually. So I just placed this one on Prize Picks before the show. I would just keep taking only Nets, but on Prize Picks, you have to play at least 2 players from different teams. So I want the under 2.5 assists for Mike James. He's going to be on the court less. James Harden is the best assist player on this team. Give me the under on that. I don't even know if, like, Mike James, there's a realistic chance now with James Harden back. If Harden does play 36 to 38 minutes, Mike James can honestly go to 10 minutes of play today, if not less. Blake Griffin under 10.5 points. Bruce Brown under 9.5 points. I just want the unders on these. And then I had to put a player from another situation. So Drew Holiday over 17.5. This is nowhere near the best line you could have gotten on him today. I think this opened at plus 16 or 16.5. But unfortunately, there wasn't many other things that looked great to get this one in. I couldn't just go with these 3 guys. On Prize Picks, you have to play at least 2 guys from a team. So unfortunately, I couldn't just go with these 3 players. So that's the third one that we already have in. We had some other ones in from this morning. We placed these ones. I took Drew Holiday at 35.5 for his fantasy points. It was up to 37, so I didn't want to double dip, but that's the one right now. These props are probably pretty similar still if you want to take some Nets over unders right now. These are points and assists right here, but you can tail them. There's a link down below to tail them on this site where it's a limited time offer. Any money you put in, they'll give you free money match to just get some free wagers out there on Prize Picks if you use the code SAL. Just hoping for a good game tonight. Love watching nail biters. Yeah, last night you had a nail biter. I mean, the nail biters that we've gotten recently aren't that fun, right, to watch. I'll pull up some of the minutes on the screen. They're not that fun to watch, some of these nail biters, like the terrible Milwaukee Game 3, but it came down to Kevin Durant just missing out the tie. Seth Curry yesterday just missing out the tie. They both hit back rim, right? Desi is set free. What's up, Sal? If you had to bet all your money on the U.S. Open winner, would you rather bet Spieth or Rory? I'd rather bet Spieth right now if you had to, but Rory sets up better. Spieth's just in an overall better irons place right now. Sal, you doing golf videos again? Didn't see any for the Open. I haven't done golf videos. I've done one golf video in I think the past 2 months. We talked about it yesterday. I would love to be doing golf videos. There's a big part of me that is itching to do the golf video for this week, but I'm trying to maintain not doing them. I want to do them. I enjoy doing them. I just don't have the time. When I do them, when I try and combine golf videos with an NBA video, an NBA live stream, and prepping NFL content, not only in the background for the draft guide, but also you're seeing me release 3 to 5 pieces of NFL content a week right now in June, just to get the ball rolling on that. Throwing a golf video on, it adds another 4 hours to that day of work, and it just like it spirals me in terms of just being completely tired. Like Mondays or Tuesdays when you have to get that golf video out for it to be worthwhile. Already right now, those are like 12-hour days. Adding like a 4-hour golf video, it just doesn't make sense. Top 3 captains for Showdown: Giannis, Durant, and I'll go Drew Holiday. Your golf picks are fire, though. Yeah, man, we've had a very good last year and a half run. I think over the last year and a half, outright winners, just for the PGA Tour, nothing like Korn Ferry or the LPGA Tour or anything like that. Outright winners, I think it's at 11 over the last 18 months, probably the last 2 years at this point now, but we haven't really been active too much in the last 2 to 3 months. Since Harden may play tonight, hard to pick KD for captain, says Darren Singletary. I think you can still pick KD for captain. I'll pull up the Brooklyn minutes onto the screen right now. There's only 2 teams, so you're kind of going to see all of them. But here's Brooklyn's minutes for me. You're only not seeing Tyler Johnson. I projected for 10 minutes of play today. Actually, let's do this. You're not going to see James Harden on this because I changed it in the back end, but James Harden, I gave him 36 minutes, so you will now see James Harden if I just scroll. So I have Harden at 36 minutes of play today. Nothing for Chioza, nothing for TLC. Tyler Johnson, I actually now don't have any minutes at, so we can do this, and that makes it a lot easier to see much of the screen. Updated minutes, though, on these guys. I'm going to have to update these. I updated them on the back end, but I'm going to have to update them over here. I don't have any interest in Mike James anymore. And Bruce Brown now is dropping significantly for me in terms of overall interests. But yeah, I think there's a real chance Mike James, doesn't really step much on the court at all tonight. But that's where I'm at right now with these guys. Jeff Green is still a yes and still a pretty top play for me. Pretty top play. How about that? Green or Griffin today? I'll take Jeff Green still. I'll still take Jeffrey Green. Harden captain all day, somebody says. Yeah, I mean, look, he's not going to be 100% healthy. Can Harden, even at 75%, hit 6-7 threes? Probably. At 50%, can he? Probably not, and that's what you're trying to hedge against, in my opinion. Enjoying those NFL mini clips, man, because here before we know it. Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. Yeah, so the mini clips are going out on Twitter. The actual videos are going out on the YouTube channel. They're like 10 to 12-minute clips. I've got 3 in the chamber right now for a stay-away running back, a must-draft wide receiver, and a sleeper running back. One will release on Thursday, and then we'll release some next week. So I'm trying to get ahead on some of those by a week or two, so I don't have to do them every single day. I can spend one day to do 3, and that takes care of a week, something like that, right? Let's go, Sal. Brooke Lopez, 2+ threes for plus money, says Case. Best of luck on that one. Case over on Twitter. How you doing? I think Harden leaves the game in the first 5 minutes like last time. He's just trying to be tough. I mean, hey, I don't think he's fully healthy. I think he's 50 to 75% healthy. Is it closer to 75% or is it closer to 50%? Based on the timeline, it's probably closer to 50%. But based on the fact that this is game 5, like the context, if they lose this game, it does seem maybe doomsday. Down 2 games, having to win 2, going back to Milwaukee for one of them. That's not a great situation. But I would think like the desperation attempt at Harden might be the next game. Because if he's really that hurt, putting him in this game, it doesn't make much sense. You can get 2 to 3 more days out of rest out of him. If you win this game, if you're able to win this game, you don't have to push him for game 6, push him for game 7. If you lose this game, play him in game 6. That's where my mindset's at. I know he's planning to play right now. There's a chance he still doesn't even play tonight, which would be pretty funny in terms of how we're all shuffling with this news. But I do think that he's healthier just from that logic. I think he's healthier than what we're at least expecting. Did you post Prize Picks props? Yeah, we did it a little bit later, so I assume you just saw it. Tyler Johnson or Chioza? I have them both for 0 minutes, so the answer would be neither. But if you had to pick one, Tyler Johnson might get 4 or 5 minutes. Sorry, I'm late. So what are your best value plays now that Harden is in? Best value play is still Jeff Green. My second best value play, I have Claxton for 12.5 fantasy points. I don't really want to play that, but Jeff Green, by far the best value play still. $4,000, still going to be a stretch. Harden being in doesn't really affect his minutes all that much. It's going to affect Bruce Brown, Joe Harris to an extent. Tyler Johnson will be out of the rotation. It'll affect Mike James, right? And then second best value play today is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's the second most expensive player, but he should be easily the most expensive player by a decent margin. Are you live on Twitter, says Waste. So Waste, you're tuning in from Periscope. So you're not watching on Twitter. You actually have the Periscope app. I didn't know anybody had that. I stream live to Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. We've been testing that out for like the last month or two, closer to 2 months now, doing the whole using Restream instead of just YouTube, seeing if it makes any difference. But obviously more people are watching if they're tuning in from Periscope, so why not? Harden ain't playing 36 to 38 minutes. I have him at 36 minutes today, personally. So I just got here. Is Harden playing? He's planning to play. Any interest in Claxton on DK tonight? Yeah, you can punt with him at 2,400. I have him for 12.8 fantasy points. The main reason, not in captain, of course, the main reason you're playing him is to get into your lineups Giannis, Kevin Durant, Middleton, like just get all the studs after that point, which I think is fair because there's a chance you can get a Claxton 14, 16-minute game and 16, 18 fantasy points. Any news on Griffin? He seemed injured last game. Late last game on Blake Griffin. No updated news on him. He's probably expected to play. How many minutes do you have Harden playing? 36 right now. You feel Harris is due for a good game? Projections like him. I saw his points total hovering around 13 to 14.5. Yeah, I'm not really there in the points total anymore. I liked Harris a lot more when Harden wasn't expected to play. I took Harris from 40 to 36 minutes. If you want to tell me he plays 37, 38, that's fine. But yes, I think Harris is fine, but not nearly as good of a play as he was earlier. Like Joe Harris for me earlier was, I mean, he's 8,400, so he's overpriced now. Now that Harden's coming back, he's massively overpriced. So nowhere near as good of a play today. Harris ranks for me today as my 12th overall play, and I only have players that I have projected for 10 or more points today is 16, and Harris ranks 12th overall for me today. Can't wait for football season. Me neither. Football season is getting very close. We're approaching 7 weeks. 7 weeks from Thursday, you will have the first NFL game. It'll be a preseason game, Hall of Fame game, but you better believe we'll be covering it. Thoughts on Mike James under 3 rebounds and Forbes over 1.5 rebounds? Nothing on the Forbes. I like the Mike James unders. I like all the Mike James unders. I have under 2.5 assists. I like his points under, although that's really low now. Who's the cheapest viable play now that Harden is in? Cheapest viable play today is $2,400 Nicholas Claxton. He's forcing it. He's going to have tightness and go to the bench immediately. So we can't really expect you can't project Harden to play 5 minutes as much as like people want to have their own narratives and think that they know another man's body that they've never met and never will meet, right? As you can't, when a player is going from out to doubtful to questionable to probable, he's clearly somewhat healthy. The doctors are not, look, this is not, first of all, this is not an injury as devastating as Kevin Durant's Achilles, in which that was the finals, all things on the line, and it was pretty clear and obvious that they made a mistake letting him go out there. That was like admitted after the fact. People were fined. I don't think that's going to happen in this situation. If James Harden can retweak his hamstring, of course he can. I think he's going to be 50 to 75%. Let's call James Harden 60% healthy tonight. A 60% James Harden can surely go out there and play 36 minutes. It's based on how much, one, pain management, and two, how aggressive he will be. James will not play much. Yeah, I don't think he will either. Your golf content is way better than anything you do, says Chris. Well, I don't know if I take that as I think I take that as, I don't even know. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. I can't believe you don't have that up and people aren't onto your players. Lists are great. I've won a ton using them. Yeah, I mean, we have it. We have it on Patreon. We have the projections, the ranks, the ownerships, the key stats, the player pools. Everything's on Patreon. There's a way to believe it, my man, Chris. It's the fact that there's only one of me. And I prioritize the NFL content, and I prioritize the NBA, especially during the postseason. So creating another 4 to 8 hours, which is it doesn't take the 20-minute video doesn't take 20 minutes to make. It takes 2 hours to research at least. It takes 45 minutes to record, an hour and a half to edit, an hour and a half to post. So it's a big 4 to 5 hour process. Fitting that into my Mondays or Tuesdays, which I was doing for about 2 or 3 months, the past 2 or 3 months, it was driving me crazy. It was not fun. It was getting to the point where I was disliking golf. So I didn't want to do that anymore. Same reason for no MMA videos as golf. The no MMAs, I wasn't doing them. Manpreet was doing them on the channel. I just wanted to go a different direction. I had the goal, and I talked about this on Rick Gaiman's podcast. I wanted to maybe try and expand the channel to cover all these different sports, be attractive to be like an overall betting hub and DFS hub. And I just don't want to do that. I want to be my channel, which is built on my stuff, what I want to do. I don't want to grow into this big enterprise of, I like the idea of having other personalities on the channel. I just haven't found the right ones, but I don't want to try and cover 6 to 8 to 10 different sports. That's not why I made the channel in the first place. And also from like an actual logistics of how YouTube works. Once you start putting out 3 to 4 to 5 videos a day, it starts to crater your channel. YouTube doesn't push it as much. When they push the first one, then you release another one 2 hours later, they'll push that one. When you release another one 2 hours later, they'll push that one. So that one you just made 5 or 6 hours ago, it's dead. It's a dead video. Only your subscriber base, if they're looking for it, will find it. It won't send notifications. It won't send it out to the public. Not a lot of people know that, right? So that's another aspect that goes into it of, okay, do I really want to make my channel these videos that we're all working hard on and they're just going to be dead after a couple hours? Doesn't make much sense. That reverse line movement is drastic. Yeah, I mean, reverse line movement mainly because Harden's in, right? And also, it's plus 2.5. The line opened at plus 3. It went to 1.5 for no reason at all, right? It went to 1.5 because Harden and Kyrie got ruled out. They were expected to miss. That was in the -3 line. So I don't think it's that drastic. I think if anything, it's just a recorrect. When the line went from -3 to -4.5 Milwaukee for no reason, it went 1.5 for no reason other than public money throwing it in there because Kyrie and Harden were out. That was expected. That was already built into the line. How you doing, Sal? You going to have any thoughts on SuperDraft? Yeah, we have SuperDraft projections. SuperDraft, you don't want to play in showdown slates, honestly. Like SuperDraft is great. If the contests aren't filling and you can find some. Otherwise, there's 5 guys on SuperDraft that are very much above the rest today, and everybody's going to play those same 5. Just hope you get lucky and pick the right captain and then split the money with everybody else, and you pay $10 to win 17. I'm just trying to be honest with you. Like in a SuperDraft player pool right now, I have 10 players, but I have 5 guys projected out for at least 8 more points than anybody else. So those guys clearly look like by far the best options. Now, obviously, 1 or 2 other guys can get in there, but it's pretty clear cut who the top 5 plays are. There's not much room to get different, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of ways to. What about Middleton or Holiday, a captain, to make more balanced lineup? I think I'd rather have Holiday. He'll be lower owned. Not a lot of people want to, at least from a captain standpoint, I believe. I'd rather have Holiday if you're choosing between the two. Who would you like to win finals regardless of betting? I don't really have much of a stake, I guess. Yeah, I guess Phoenix, I guess. I don't really care too much at who wins it, to be honest. I just want to see some good games. Forbes or Connaughton? Connaughton. Any interest in Portis or Forbes? No interest in Forbes. I'll take Portis, though. He's in a player pool for me. How many minutes does Harden get? I gave him 36. Holiday or Middleton for the star and FanDuel? I like Holiday on DraftKings and SuperDraft. I don't really have any interest or no idea what the prices are in FanDuel, though. Thoughts on Tucker today? Tucker for DraftKings, I took his over 10.5 fantasy points earlier today. Now that's up, I think, to like 12.5. I wouldn't touch it. Tucker right now, I have him for 14.5. We can pull up Milwaukee's minutes. I have him for 14.5 points today. It's not really that attractive, to be honest. Minutes are now on the screen. Thoughts on Connaughton? Connaughton I have for 13.5 fantasy points today. I gave him 20 minutes. He played 22 in the last one, although he got a little bit of extra run when some guys were in foul trouble. Connaughton at 20 minutes is completely fine. Not that exciting. At that price point where Connaughton's at $4,400, I think I'd rather just take Bobby Portis, who I projected higher for $1,200 less. Bobby Portis is a punt. Yep, Bobby Portis and Claxton are the two best punts. Sneaky captain, maybe a Lopez. Yep, I think so. Right now in my captain exposure, the only guys I kept in on the lineup optimizer, the big energy optimizer, if you want to get up in there, the only players that I kept in, these are the only players that I allowed to be captains today. 7. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to get a whole bunch of all 7 of these. I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of 2 or 3 of them, and then sprinkles of Lopez, like you said, sprinkles of Joe Harris, like I mentioned earlier. Favorite captain, Giannis, but it's not going to surprise anybody. When there's a slate this obvious, in my opinion, like when there's a slate this obvious, you probably don't play a lot of money in Showdown. You're playing tonight for pure entertainment. You're not playing tonight to win $100,000 because nobody's going to win $100,000 tonight unless somehow somebody plays like Chris Chiozza and he goes off, right? Something like that. They need to play DJ and have him clog the paint some. Yeah, I'm not too sure how much that actually helps, to be honest with you. Like, I get the point on DJ clogging the paint against Giannis, but he doesn't do anything else out there, and I also don't think that he could really stop Giannis, if I'm being completely honest. Like, DeAndre Jordan 3 or 4 years ago would be a fine option to put out there for that reason. DeAndre Jordan now, where he's a statue, where he's slow, where he's not that physical, it's just bad. It's a nagging hamstring, 3rd re-injury. I've read a bunch of tweets from doctors that said that he should not be out there. Yeah. I think he's 50 to 75% and closer to 50%. If this was a regular season game, Harden would miss probably another 2 to 3 weeks. He re-injured it earlier in the season and missed out on a good amount of time. He's had a week to recover. He's clearly not 100% healthy, but what goes into re-injuring your hamstring? How aggressive you play, right? And how much you can deal with just pain management and staying out there. So if he's going to tweak his hamstring again, then he's not going to be playing, right? He's not going to be playing. I think he feels a little bit better than he did 2 to 3 days ago. And he did 2 to 3 days before that, enough to at least go to the court in a game 5 where it's not do or die. Like, if you win this game, he doesn't have to play till game 7 when you can really force it. If you lose this game, then you make a decision on game 6. Him doing this for game 5 doesn't make much sense. Like, if you win this game, he comes out without re-injuring it, is he going to just sit out the next game? Probably not. So then you're continuing to have higher chances to re-injure it. So at the end of the day, none of us know. Matthew P in the chat, you do not know, as much as the 3 Twitter doctors you read said that he shouldn't be out there. Of course he shouldn't. If this is the regular season, he won't be out there. There's a difference. I do not know. But what I do know is the context clues of what we have. Going from out to doubtful to questionable to planning to play is a positive news. Playing in a game 5 where it's not do or die. It's not why are you playing in this one. It's not the finals. It's not game 7, right? He can play in game 6, take 2 or 3 more days of rest. So he clearly feels a little bit better. Otherwise, he would take those extra couple days of rest. He was planning to play in the previous game. So I don't think this is as major of an injury as it may have been earlier led on, or at least that's what they're seeing right now. End of the day, though, 36 minutes. If you want to say he plays 26, then don't play him. No shot. His football content is by far the best. Thanks, John Kennedy. Yeah, any content I put out, I hope to be pretty much like the same standard, like all the same. Whether you win or lose on the picks, it's all coming from the same research, all the same thoughtfulness, all the same entertainment, hopefully, and presentation. So whether you watch me during a football season, we got a hot 3 weeks, or it was golf. Obviously, that's where Chris is coming from. He said you got hot for like a couple weeks. Yeah, there was like one time where we won 4 out of 6 outright. So obviously, if you watch me during then, if you're saying the content is good from an actual hitting standpoint, sure. But it all starts from the same standpoint. 2 best values, Claxton. I mean, I don't really like Claxton today. He's point per dollar wise if you're trying to punt, but Claxton and Bobby Portis. Kyle Jones says Sal not going to sell out. Yeah, it's not even selling out. Like, you can sell out from a standpoint of, well, also selling out's not bad if it secures like a major check for you and generations after that and employees for you. Like, I don't see it as selling out. I see it as you worked something towards building something up. But yeah, the reason why you bring on more sports is not even to grow the business from a revenue standpoint. Eyeball, sure, maybe revenue comes with it, but it's to be appealing to these up-and-coming BetMGM, maybe FanDuel, DraftKings, and they say, hey, you got this big channel and all, you're talking about sports betting and stuff like that. Let's link up with you. But I think I'd rather scale my time differently. So instead of doing that and becoming more of a manager and having headaches and not doing what I set out to do in the first place, I'd rather scale my time by potentially getting an agent trying to work to do that and getting on more shows. Get on a 10 or 20 minute fill on CBS Sports HQ, or maybe not ESPN. That's pretty hefty, but things like that. Just now that we have the set, we can dress up in a polo or something and just do a 10 minutes fill for betting or DFS, and probably betting more so because that's what people are looking for. And that's how I can get eyeballs on me, direct them back to the channel and all that type of stuff. So I'd rather spend my time doing that from a scaling standpoint instead of trying to just pump out so much more content and have other people pump it out for me. What's good, Sal? You like any points props for tonight? Yeah, I do. I like a lot of unders on the Nets. We went over a couple earlier. We can go back to them momentarily. Sal, you like Lopez over 6.5 rebounds? I have no stance on it. Didn't take it. They're going to eat Giannis alive tonight. Ooh, you think so? I mean, Giannis, the screen door was open in that last game towards the end of it. When Nets were getting a little bit gassed, Jeff Green was getting... I mean, here's the thing. Jeff Green is going to get torched by Giannis. They like Jeff Green out there more because he's more of a consistent option than Blake Griffin, in my opinion. But Blake Griffin defends Giannis better. So Giannis will probably do whatever he wants when Jeff Green's out there. Whew. PJ is getting 4 points tonight. Don't play him. Alrighty, yeah. He's usually not the greatest. Updated top plays, please. Yeah, Jeff Green, Giannis, Kevin Durant, Jrue Holiday, James Harden. Those are my favorite top 5 plays. How many minutes is Harden projected to play? Sorry if you answered this. No problem, Henry. I have him at 36. I live in Alabama, so I can only bet on lines and showdowns. Can't do props bets, I believe, legally. Yeah, I'm not too sure what the situation is for Alabama from a prize pick standpoint. I'm not too sure where that's at. But you can see exposure-wise, let's see if we can go back to the lineups. So exposure-wise, I'm actually surprised I'm not getting more Giannis. He's going to be like 90+% on today. How you been? I've been good, my man Josh. How you doing? Somebody says, Sal, I'm winning 100K. Alrighty, best luck. I mean, I hope you do. How many points do you have KD projected for? I have KD for 54.6 DraftKings points. Bucks blowing the Nets back out, somebody says. Oh, no. Brooklyn minutes. Yeah, we can pull Brooklyn's minutes up onto the screen. So earlier, we'll pull them back up. So I took this one earlier. I've taken out 3 different... so I guess I've taken total today. I have action on like 12 different props on Prize Picks. These are the most recent 4. If you want to tail Prize Picks, it's just you can use these ones. You can take whatever ones you want. It's player props. It's over-unders. It's simple as that. It's by far the best way to be playing on showdown slates, and honestly, 2-game slates as well. 3 and 4-game slates, DFS starts to become more fun again. I'm playing, I think, $25 to $50, probably $50. Right now, I have like $30 in for the showdown slate. I just don't have any interest in playing the showdowns. I don't have interest in putting $50 in to, at best, win like 100, and that's if I beat 20,000 people. I can put $50 into literally Prize Picks and turn it into... honestly, if it's not even the greatest of outcomes, still double it to 100. And if you get all 4 or all 5, you can 10x or 5x it. So you can use the code SAL. They're doing a limited time money match. So if you put in any amount of money up to $100, 50, they'll give you 50 right back to you, some free money, free wagering. And it's legal in a lot more states than you think. So like New York, it's legal, and you probably wouldn't think that. Florida, it's legal. You might not think that if you're in those states because you don't have many options or any options at all. But Mike James under assists, Blake Griffin and Bruce Brown under points, and I have over Jrue Holiday points. Those are real points, not fantasy-based. But we can get back to the minutes for our fellow who asked about them. Jeff Green or Harris? I'll take Jeff Green, if just point per dollar-wise. Load up on the Bucks players, sure. Thanks, I ended up winning 1,100 on Prize Picks from listening to your videos. Hey, nice job. Are you the one who DM'd me? Nice job, my man. Pat Connaughton or Forbes? Connaughton. Hey, Sal, love your videos, bro. Great input and statistics. Say hey to my girl, Erin McGuire, for me. She loves you. Sean Chappelle says, what's going on, Erin McGuire? How you doing? Sal Fook and Vetri, bro. What's going on, Dominate? Yeah, I should set up a Harden comeback confirmed. We'd love to see it. I should set up a cameo for all the people asking for these shout-outs. I was going to say that's selling out, but I also think that is the same exact thing as autographs, except more personalized, so why not? Although I don't have one, and I don't really want to right now. How is it having to deal with Cowboys fans now that you live in Texas? I haven't had to deal with any, but I don't mind Cowboys fans. I don't mind fans of any team. I mean, unless you're like an asshole or like you're belligerently drunk and just annoying me. I don't mind fans of any team. But I haven't had to deal with... Actually, I mean, like, my girlfriend's brother's girlfriend is a Cowboys fan, but, I mean, that's just like she's a fan. There's nothing dealing with it, though. Steve Nash should shoot up tonight, somebody says. I saw one of my friends said that earlier. Mike James is 17.5 score on Prize Picks. I have Mike James projected today for 10.8 fantasy points as of right now. So if that's actually true, I'm going to go take that. Mike James right now. So Mike James' fantasy score right now on Prize Picks is 17.5. I like the under. I have him at 10.8. Obviously, if James Harden re-injures himself, that's going to not get you anything there. But Mike James under 17.5 feels pretty good. You just have to pair that up with somebody from another team, a.k.a. Milwaukee. So you have to find something over there that you like enough to pair it up with. Sal, what do you have Green projected for? 21.5 DraftKings points. Lopez over 6.5. Speak, brother. What you mean? Sal, glad to see you didn't get shot, somebody says. Get shot from where? What are you talking about? The hell? Fade Harden, question mark? I think Harden's fine to play. He's not as good as the other studs, but he's fine to play. Legalize prize picks in Virginia, please. I want to print money with you guys, says Seth. I don't know if we're printing money, but I'm up on prize picks, that's for damn sure. I'm up on prize picks since beginning playing there a couple months back, so that's good. And we're trying to continue to be up on them. I want a little bit more diversity, but in terms of other sports to play, I don't really follow MLB too closely. But PGA is on there, and obviously NFL is coming. Hopefully they get XFL. Sal, we need to educate the noobs. You had NFL Millie Maker winners last year because you were dang sexy and great content, says Miguel. Yeah, we had two NFL Millie Maker winners last year. I think we might have had, well, two that like reached out. One was a showdown that was split, I think, like 4 ways, and then one was a legitimate Millie Maker. That guy also thanked like 3 other people in the industry, so I'm sure he just listens to a lot of content, but it's cool. It's cool to hear that. Sal needs to get an OnlyFans, somebody says. I would 100% sell out for that if it meant big things. Shout out to you finishing first in a half marathon. What was your mile pace? Thanks, man. So the mile pace was around a 7:15, 7 minute and 15 second pace. That might not sound, it's going to sound impressive to many people. It's about what I wanted to do on average. I think I could have got 7-minute mile pace. That's what I was trying to do 4 years ago when I first set out on this journey and injured myself 3 years. COVID last year, made no races. So the problem was it was 95 degrees. And at no point did I ever run anywhere near that. Like the longest runs that I was doing in that type of temperature were like 3 miles at most, maybe 4. Because I would get up early. Most of my training was in North Carolina. Most of it started in March, April, and May, right? And I just ran it in June. So the race started and it was about 92 degrees and crazy humidity at 6:45 in the morning. And it took me like an hour and a half to run the race, hour 34 minutes total. And it got up to about 95, 98. And first 5.5 miles cruising, fine. I was on like a 7:02 pace, 7:05, and I was like, okay, I got a lot of energy. Probably the last mile or two I can pump up and maybe get the 7-minute mile pace. And then miles like 6 through 10, it was just kind of like, okay, we're starting to drag now. I'm getting pretty fucking tired. Miles 11 and 12 and 13 were just brutal. Like the final 2 to 3 miles were just absolutely brutal. What's the prize picks referral code? Sal, my name, SAL. You can use the link down below. You type that code in when you sign up, and bam, you get schmacked with some $. So yeah, the boy wasn't lying. There is an over-under of 17.5. I have Mike James at 10.8 fantasy points, assuming James Harden plays, assuming he starts, which is what we're leaning towards right now. I just need to find something to pair this with because I have a lot of Nets action already, and I don't have as much Milwaukee action. And like the action that I did like the over PJ Tucker 10.5 fantasy points is now up to 13, so I don't want that. I'm going to have to find a prop that I like from Milwaukee to pair this with. Anybody got the best single stats? I keep seeing a lot of people say Brook Lopez over 6.5 rebounds. Am I just going to say fuck it and we'll just go with that because the community likes it? It's not something that I'm liking. To be honest with you, I'm not really liking Brook Lopez over 6.5. If anything, I kind of like the under on that one. Does Mike James have a rebounding prop? We can take the under. We can just we can't take 2 from the same team though. Fuck. All right, well, we'll have to find one. We'll have to find one momentarily. Somebody says, Miguel, something wrong with you. What's going on in the chat? You miss North Carolina, Sal? Because we miss you, somebody says. The area of the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham area, Chapel Hill, is, even being in Austin, Austin's like beautiful in a different sense, but that area is probably the most beautiful area I've ever been in. Just so nice, very safe outside of like South Raleigh from what I hear. But yeah, my lineups are showing the Donius and captain spots. Yeah, Eric, and this is for everybody else who's using the optimizer. If you're using the big energy optimizer, manually take out Donius as a captain, right? That's what I showed earlier. Take out Claxton. What the optimizer is going to try and do for you is put in, first of all, there's not that many combinations you can do, right? There's not that many combinations, but you're going to want to take out those guys. Just manually take them out, because what it's going to do is try and put in the highest scoring lineups, right? And if you can fit in 5 guys projected for around 45 to 50 plus points, and one guy in the captain spot is only projecting for like Claxton, let's just say 20 points with the captain stuff, it's going to look better, but it's clearly not the high upside play because the optimizer can't take into account range of outcomes unless you put in randomness, and then also just manually choose the captains you want to. So you can just click this checkbox right here to get them all off, and then I just went through and basically the ones who have a ceiling on them. Any ones that can have a safe floor and a ceiling. So like right when you get to Joe Harris and Brook Lopez, it's like, okay, I know these guys can at least have a 40 to 50 point game. I've seen it within the past month, right? Somebody says, thoughts on PJ Tucker today? I like the over 10.5 fantasy points earlier. Now it's to a point where I don't really want to. What's the prize picks referral? Sal. Nash can't suit up. He's got to cut his hair before he... LOL. I definitely miss NC. I used to sit out on his window and watch him eat dinner. I don't know what the fuck OG Steve Daniels is. That's weird. Harden is now game time decision. Be careful on the James play, somebody says. I mean, the Harden game time decision, that doesn't change anything, right? Them saying that Harden is a game time decision doesn't change anything. He plans to play. He's going to try it in pregame warm-ups. As long as he doesn't tweak it in pregame warm-ups, I think he'll be okay. It sounds impressive because it is. Thanks. That was OG. I was there on Tuesdays watching him and his dog. I don't have a dog, so I don't know what you're talking about. Any U.S. Open content soon? No U.S. Open content, Cole. You're in Austin now? Okay. I'm picking up Ryan Hodge, and we were coming to find you. Do you actually know Hodge, my man Miguel? I've talked with Hodge. I've DM'd him a couple times. We got to meet up. It's like the last thing that you think about, and like meeting up like during the week and on the weekends I've been pretty busy, but we got to meet up for sure. Pat Connaughton or Forbes will be on. I like Pat Connaughton more. Sal, how much for the OnlyFans picks? $200 a month. Miguel, you seem creepy. Why are you trying to stalk Sal? Somebody says. All right, chill out in the chat. All right, gang. That's probably longer than we needed to go, like 35 minutes. So peace out. If you got final questions, let me know. Have you dropped the MMA videos? Nope, no MMA videos. Maybe if like the Conor fight, I'll just do like a 30-minute lineup builder type of thing, but only if I have time. Peace out, everybody. Like, subscribe, do those things. Best of luck today. It's just one game. Tomorrow we're going to have another stream for this, and we'll have the NBA show in the morning. Thursday will be just an NBA video in the morning for the showdown slate for the same team, Game 6, these same teams. And then no NBA content Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday morning I'm getting on a flight and going to Denver and hiking for the weekend in the Rockies. So no NFL, no NBA content Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but there will be NFL content on Friday. And then the weekend more than likely is just going to be free with no content. Life update podcast probably on Sunday with my girlfriend releasing. But tomorrow will be the last live stream of the week. Alrighty. Peace out, gang. Thanks for the stream. No problem, Seth. Have a good one. Lock of the night been killing it. Yeah. Manpreet's awesome. Manpreet's awesome. Somebody says, yeah, I know Hodge. Sally the man as always. Best of luck, everybody. Peace out. See you in the next one.